Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to talk to you about how Europe changed basketball forever. So as we all know, Europe is a very large part of the NBA right now. We had Peja Stojakovic many years ago. We have Dirk Nowitzki, who just is retiring right now, and now we have Luca Doncic, who is probably going to be one of the best players the NBA has ever seen. Now let's not also forget players like Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, who made the Eurostep their own and was one of their best moves that the NBA has ever seen. And even up here in Canada at the high school level and the club level, they've kind of taken away the Eurostep, saying that if you're taking your two steps and you're not going in the same location, the same line as where you were going before, it is now classified as a travel. Now, as far as I know, it's been a few years since I played down in the States in AAU basketball. It's been like 12 years, but I don't think they've changed that rule. So this is why Europe has changed the world of basketball forever. So Eurostep is number one. The Eurostep is when you're driving towards the rim and you take your first step in this direction, and then you change locations to your left or vice versa to get around your defender. Now, this is a very deadly move because obviously it's very similar to the spin move where you're changing directions, where you're going bang, bang, and around and up. So you're able to get that around your defenders really easily. And a lot of players now use that in the NBA. You see this a lot in international basketball. A lot of different African nations are actually really killing it with this move. So it's not surprising that Europe has really changed it just in that one move alone. But now we have Dirk Nowitzki, who has really taken the fadeaway into his own. And the reason why it's so good with him is because he has a high arcing shot. He's already a 7-footer, but because he reaches up so high on his shot, he gets a ton of arc, and it's already hard to block him. But now when you're doing a fadeaway, you're creating that much space between your defender and yourself, where now, for him, it is a very deadly move. And that's now, even Peja Stojakovic, he had a pretty good shot as well. And with those two players, the big men who can shoot, now we're seeing more and more players who can do that. Players like Joel Embiid when he's not sick. Players like Marc Gasol, they can all shoot the three and they're all 7 feet tall. So that's another little portion of the NBA and of basketball in the world where Europe has changed it forever. Now, the other thing is players like Marc Gasol and Peja Stojakovic, who can get into the high post or even the low post and already know where their players are. And they are able to rack up a ton of assists. And the reason why they know where their players are is because when they're showing for the ball in the high post, or if they're going down to the low post asking for the ball, they're already looking around to see where their players are. So when he's showing to the high post over here, he's already looking, he gets that ball, and in the corner of his eye, he might see Pascal Siakam cutting. He'll pass it to him. Or another player, Danny Green cutting. Somebody. So this is why now you're seeing a lot of big men passing in the NBA because it's so deadly. And let's face it, Marc Gasol and the Raptors basically changed the whole face of the team. Because now they went from a team who's really good at shooting the three, not like elite or anything, but really good at shooting the three, really good at cutting towards the basket, really good in the fast break. But now, with him in the high post, he's able to turn, and now we're also a really good cutting team. But now he's a threat in the post, so now people are double teaming him, and he's able to get even more three-pointers off with other players and get those assists. And now we're an elite three-point team. We're one of the best in the league, probably one of the best in the world. So to do the Eurostep, all you really need to do is when you're driving towards the rim, let's say you're driving down the center of the court. This is my favorite area of the court to drive down. And all you need to do, let's say your defender's on your left side. You're gonna drive, you're gonna take one step this way, one step that way, and up on that left side. And this is still a very deadly move, even if your league or your team or just your area in general has said, like in Canada, or at least in Ontario, where you have to go in the same line as where you were driving before. You can't deviate or else it's a travel. Then you can still make it not as obvious. So before you could be like boom, boom, and up. Now you can kind of a little bit smaller where you can go just like this. Whereas not as much of a deviation of your path, but you can still use it to your advantage. Now, up until grade 10, I was a post player. I was 6'2". I was 6'2" in grade 9. I was 6 feet in grade 6. I remember that because 6 and 6. Anyways, but the one move I used a lot from like I would say grade 8 and up, is in the post is the fadeaway. And that's not because of Dirk Nowitzki. It's just because I just thought of it myself. A lot of players are doing fadeaways. Coach hates it. But I'm taller, so I might be able to have an advantage, which is later on when I got older, I was like, oh crap, Dirk Nowitzki uses that. So you get the ball, all you need to do is one dribble, take your right leg, or your inside leg if you're on the other side, just take one step away, and now you've created that much distance. And if you're doing it quickly, you can get a ton of distance from your defender and really destroy them. So you're gonna get that ball, one dribble, one step, and then fade away and shot. So this is how Europe has changed basketball forever. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow for another daily basketball video.